Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to co-chair this year's NMSDC conference. Congratulations to the corporate and MBE winners tonight. Before I begin, I want to thank the NMSDC, Josette Wright, the board of directors, and all the corporate sponsors for such a great and outstanding event. It seems each year the conference gets better and better. This year certainly started with a bang, you know. Earth, Wind & Fire put on a heck of a show, and I didn't realize how many of you could get down like that. It was great to be able to connect on a more personal level. It's amazing how a little booty shake can bring people together. And that's what this organization is about. It's about people connecting with people. Thank you very much, Josette, for your leadership. You have a unique and uncanny ability to do that. One of the last conversations I had with Josette was about a book called Who Moved My Cheese? She said, I don't care who moved my cheese. I want to know what I have to do to get it back. And that's at the heart of the remarks I have tonight. The reason is that this is 2014, and this is a year that the world changed dramatically, and I'll tell you why. And I'll elaborate that in a minute. And we in this room must change, or we must risk, you know, because either you change, but if you don't like change, you have to understand what becoming irrelevant feels like. First, I want to take you back to 1872, which was a momentous occasion for the U.S. economy. That year was the year that we as a country overtook the UK as the world's largest economy. This year, 2014, is a momentous occasion for China because it just became the world's largest economy, ending the 142-year leadership that we had in the world. You know, 1972 was also, 100 years later, a momentous year for my family. It's the year that we received the permission to exit Cuba behind the Iron Curtain. It's the same year also that the NMSDC was founded. Allowing us to come to this country from a land that had no opportunity, no freedom, and no liberty. My personal experience would eventually inspire me to name the company I co-founded. As a proud American, I believe in the power of liberty, and that is why I named my company Liberty Power. My family bought into the U.S. brand, the land of opportunity. Back then, my parents could have never imagined a world where the United States was something other than number one. And yet here we stand today, number two, after China, with other countries like Brazil and India breathing down our neck. And you could argue, well, China has 1.4 million people. They deserve to be number one. Well, then India deserves to be number two. And Indonesia, with 250 million people and expecting to be 300 million in the next 20 years, next generation, they deserve to be number three. How comfortable are you guys being number two? What about number three, number four, number five, number six, which, by the way, is where the UK stands today? Do you think that in 1872 the UK thought, well, we're number two, but we're never going to get to number three, number four, number five, number six? No, I don't think so. So we must change, we must adapt. Again, if you don't like change, just imagine what the alternative looks like. In the 1960s, Avis, then the second largest rental car company behind Hertz, embraced their second position with a new tagline: we're number two, so we try harder. Today, Avis, a Liberty Power customer, by the way, leads the industry in terms of customer satisfaction. They tried harder, and we must try harder. The speaker in Monday's lunch, Simon Bailey, talked about how we must own the moment. He challenged us, and tonight I will issue my own set of pleas and calls to action. Tonight I urge the government, corporate America, NMSDC, MBEs, for all of us to change. I urge corporate America to advance from the concept of supplier diversity, very honorable for the last 4 decades, to the concept of supplier development, where you're not only measuring how much you're spending, but what kind of impact you're having on society. And I urge the NMSDC to grow beyond measuring diversity spend to measuring impact. And I urge MBEs to invest in their people and their processes, because that, in large part, is how Liberty Power has become successful. Investing in people equals innovation. Investing in processes and controls and systems and metrics is how you scale a company. The government, corporate America, the NMSDC, and MBEs must collaborate in order to better understand how our needs have changed and what we must do to address these changing needs. The things that got us here, that made us successful, will not be the same things that get us to where we want to be. Like all of you here in this room, I love this country. I'm passionate about the future of the United States, about our children's future. I'm passionate about free enterprise, and that's why I'm standing before you here today. That's why I'm so supportive of the NMSDC. Some people say it's the government that creates jobs, you know? I disagree. I think it's you people in this room that create jobs. That's why I recently teamed with the co-founder of Bernie Marcus, co-founder of Home Depot, a company that's committed to supplier diversity, and his new organization, Job Creators Network. Its goal is to bring about public policy to ensure government stays true to its role, which I describe as enforcing the rules and making sure that they're clear to everyone and that everyone lives by those rules. Again, it's private enterprise and small businesses in particular that drive economic growth in this country, that create jobs. According to the SBA, small businesses make up 2/3 of new jobs, while the mission of the NMSDC for the last 4 decades has been to advance business opportunities for certified minority business enterprises and connect them to corporate members. Make no mistake, the NMSDC's aim is job growth and wealth creation. Promoting supply chain diversity is simply a means to an end. After all, minorities eventually, soon enough, will become a majority. It's inevitable that as our demographics change, that more than half of today's U.S. children under the age of 5 are minorities. Yet economic disparities still remain. Recall I mentioned earlier that the NMSDC was founded in '72, and both NMSDC and corporate America have come a long way since then. Many Fortune 500 companies have promoted diversity in hiring and in their supply chain. We acknowledge and we celebrate these success stories, but the evolution must continue. It's time for corporations, including Liberty Power, to own the moment and to change. Here's an example of why, you know, the list of Fortune 500 companies back in 1972. Out of that list, there's only 18 companies out of the 500 that are still Fortune 500 companies today. So out of the Fortune 500 list in 1972, there's only 18 of those companies still in that Fortune 500 list. So if you don't like change, think about what becoming irrelevant feels like. Think about number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. To the audience here today, whether you're a minority business owner, a supplier diversity professional, or a leader at a Fortune 500 company, are you ready to take supplier diversity to a whole new level? It's what many refer to as supplier development. It means entering into a trusted, long-lasting, mutually beneficial relationship with your minority suppliers. As Len Greenhouse says in his book, Minority Business Success, an investment in developing the suppliers in the corporate value chain is an investment in your own competitive advantage, because today, very different from where we were 100 years ago, corporations are nothing more than strategic supply chains competing against other strategic supply chains. MBEs bring measurable bottom line value to their customers. They often accomplish this because the vast majorities of MBE have an entrepreneurial and innovative spirit. They're creative, innovative, nimble. MBEs have the ability to develop disruptive technologies or business models because they must, out of necessity. The only way that a minority-owned business can compete is by being better than the competition. Supplier diversity programs provide opportunities for MBEs, opportunities to bid to provide their value. The issue is that too often the opportunities stop there. A single transaction or a supply contract, and we check the box, we move on. We measure success of supplier diversity by the growing spend with MBEs. But that is a difference of degree. What I'm talking about is a difference in kind. Under supplier development approach, the relationship doesn't stop with an exchange of goods or service with one transaction. It just starts there. A contract is the jumping off point for what should be a much deeper relationship. Supplier diversity is about finding qualified suppliers to fill an order. Can you respond to this RFP? Can you compete on price in a reverse auction? Sure, Liberty Power can do that. We've proven that time and again. But we've evolved from a simple transaction to much more thanks to customers like you. Recently, Shelley Stewart has been very helpful. And thanks to other customers like Pepsi and JCPenney and New York Life and others that adopted us very early on in the process. Supplier development is about finding a partner to develop innovative solutions to solve difficult problems and challenges, business challenges. Supplier diversity is about offering a seat at the table. Supplier development is about sitting side by side at the table, rolling up your sleeves and tackling business challenges together. I want to recognize the unsung heroes in this room tonight. You know, supplier diversity and supply chain professionals share one common bond. They are some of the most passionate people I know when it comes to their work and their mission. And tonight I need your support. I need your voice. I need you to promote supplier development with as much vigor, as much passion, and as much commitment as you have when it comes to supplier diversity. It is in large part because of your efforts, the companies you represent and the organizations like the NMSDC that have propelled supplier diversity spend from $20 billion in 1990 to over $100 billion today. The pitch is easy. Supplier development is the best and fastest way of extracting the most possible value from your suppliers and sourcing partners. And to the MBEs in the audience, I need your help too. I continually talk about the value you bring to the table, the innovative solutions, the value creation, the drive to always go the extra mile for the customer. Prove me right. In closing, I would admonish all of you to own the moment. As a country, this is our moment. Our cheese has moved. We must try harder. So I ask you, as voters responsible for the government we have in place today, as members of this organization, the NMSDC, as corporate America, as minority-owned business enterprises, what are you going to do about it? Let's all commit to taking supplier diversity to a whole new level called supplier development. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you all in San Diego.